Hello. It is the 98th episode of The Late Challenge with the usual people at the helm. Me, Gareth Roberts, him, Paul Cope. And today we will be talking about Liverpool's title chase. We will be talking about the increased challenge from Chelsea. And we will no doubt be talking about terrible referees. There may also be some of what one watcher called this week 4 a.m. in the kitchen of a house party talk. When you've got Paul Cope here, you can never rule that out. And if you like what we do, give the little subscribe button on YouTube a little click there. We're only about 200 or so off 11,000, which is nice, and it's all right, and we're happy with it, but we want it to hit 11,000. So it's on 10.8. Make it hit 11,000, because some weeks there's 20,000 people watching this video. So why can't you be bothered to just go, and it makes us happy. And it'll make you happy because you'll be dead satisfied that you're satisfying us or something. Also, you can subscribe to our Patreon for extra shows, past, present and future. You can throw in at Buy Me a Coffee. Just Google it and look for The Late Challenge. Or you can lash in a super like right here, right now, if you're taking this in as a live video. And I am looking at our video live, and there are people watching live, and there are people in the comments. And someone says we're starting when we're starting because Robbo can't help but swear in the opening minutes. Well, so far so good. I haven't done it, have I? And I'm not going to. Because YouTube downgrades you or something if you swear at the start. But let's start with the... Oh, hang on. Is this going to work? Oh, yeah, there's no swear words in it. We're all right. So let's start with our mailbag this week, which is a place where Ian Schroeder asks, what's the softest thing that could knock Kyle Walker over? He's proposed a gentle breeze on a spring day, a right hook from a 90-year-old woman, the fart of a dog, or a small child waving. Did you see this?
Nice question, yeah.
Did you see how ridiculous it was?
Yeah.
Like, before I propose a change in the law in football, I just don't get it. Like, I don't get what he's thinking. So he's an experienced player. He's won everything with Man City. He's been playing in the top flight for years, etc., etc. International footballer. He must have noticed by now that you're playing in front of a massive crowd, that it's on the telly, and that there's video-assisted referee. You know, everything is watched, everything is seen. There's even that weird spider cam looping over your head while you're playing. At what point did he think, I'll get away with this? This will be sound, and it won't look dead daft. He just looks like the big... Like, if we did a section on here called Divvy of the Weekend, and there've been a few of them, I think he just about comes out on top for that. Because... What?
I think it was just another one of those we've talked about recently, like the collective heads have gone. Just another sign of that. They're just fucked. Like, at that moment, there's something in his head gone, I could get him sent off here. So I'll try. And you're like, well, firstly, if you're playing this Man United team and you think you need to get one of their players sent off to beat them, that's a bad sign. But the fact that that's what you're doing, as you say, as an experienced player, it was just awful.
Yeah, really bad.
It is funny. Did you watch any of it on Sky? Like, I always think like Micah Richards is sound and funny, but his Man City, some of his views are mad, and his Man City bias is ridiculous. Yeah. And he gets away with it because people like him and he's funny. But even he was like, yeah, it's embarrassing that. Because you can tell he's mates with them, can't you?
Yeah.
Like, he goes out with Grealish and all that, so he doesn't want to criticise them. But even he had to go, yeah, I'm embarrassed for him.
Yeah, it was... I mean, like, there was that. And then did you see Cunha after the Wolves game?
No, I didn't.
It seems to be, like, after every Wolves game now. They've obviously sacked the manager now.
Have they? Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone, yeah. That was what was happening, was it? Southampton's went yesterday.
Yeah.
He's gone today.
The way I reacted with surprise at that.
I know. It's always happening, wasn't it? But yeah, Cunha's... there's some kind of scuffle on the pitch after the final whistle. And some kind of Ipswich Town security guard fella got involved. And they're just like exchanging words. But like at one point he sort of like elbows him in the head, like this little sly elbow. But then the one where it's just like, lad, no, you can't do that. He just knocks his glasses off. You know, and I just thought, like when I saw it, I just thought of all the things you can do You know what I mean? Like push someone, chin someone, butt someone, argue with them, call them names. Knocking the glasses off is not on. I'm not having, as a glasses wearer, I'm not having that. You can't do that. That's around about the same level as spitting at someone. Do you know what I mean? That's doof antics, that. So I'm not having that. So perhaps he's divvy of the weekend. But
yeah, maybe. I agree with you. And at the same time, you said something before we started recording about, you know, we're all fucked in our own way. And there's been stuff for me recently, like reflecting on stuff. Joe, how many things in your life that are the worst things you've ever done or you regret, whatever, and it was literally like 2 seconds. Like if you break it down, it was a 2-second thing. And if you could go back and wipe out those 2 seconds, you just would. I mean, like, if there's anyone listening or watching who's never had that happen to them, you've been very fucking lucky. It's happened to me a number of times, and I'm sure will happen again. And I bet you, if we spoke to Cunha or Walker now and said, do you wish you could take back those 2 seconds? They'd be like, yeah.
In the moment, it just went a bit mad. And yeah, I mean, someone here wants to clarify that he didn't just knock them off; he reached out and removed them, which is he did, and then threw them on the floor. But yeah, you can't be doing that. And this is where I wondered over the weekend: should we have a red card offence for just basically being a dickhead? So, you know, both of these fellas would be straight off for this behaviour. You know, because with both, all this sort of hand rubbing, ringing, chin stroking stuff about, setting a bad example for youngsters who like football and all that. I always think that's a bit bollocks. I just think don't be a dickhead. Like, as a general rule in life, if you can avoid being a dickhead, sound. And if you hang around with people who aren't dickheads, sound. And if you can shack up with someone who isn't a dickhead, bonus. So I think you should just get a red card for being a dickhead. You could have a panel of people that judge on the basis, a panel of sound people.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, because if
who's never been a dickhead.
Well, not even who's never been one. If you give that power to the match official, you're giving the power to certified dickheads to decide who's being a dickhead. It was funny you put refs in here about this. I'll mention this now. When I was watching it, I nearly messaged you about it and forgot. When I was watching the United game, there was a moment where United could have had a pen, and Neville in commentary, did you watch it? Neville in commentary went to Mike Dean, because they've all got a ref watching it now.
Oh,
and Mike Dean just always goes. Dean just always goes, yes, good decision, and he just went.
In this game, fuck off.
It's not enough for a penalty in a game of this magnitude.
No,
and you're like, sorry, Mike. So
the rules change.
No one fucking pulled him up on it. No one said. So
terrible.
Sorry, is there, like, I was thinking about our mate Mingle, like, so is there an equation now where before you decide if something's a penalty, you have to go through a process of seeing what the magnitude of the game is?
Terrible.
And the threshold for a penalty goes up if the magnitude of the game is higher. Fuck off, Mike.
Yeah,
but he just says it casually, like telling us what they all do in games. Referee context, referee the occasion. No, mate, that's not the fucking idea.
Yeah.
Is that a foul or not? Forget it's even in the box. Is it a foul? If it's a foul, it's a fucking penalty. I honestly couldn't believe he said it out loud, and even Neville didn't go to him. Sorry, Mike, what the fuck are you talking about?
If it looks like a foul, and it is a foul, it's a foul.
It's a pen.
And it doesn't matter if it's the Manchester Derby, it's a foul, and it's a pen. Yeah, I thought that was absolutely terrible, and I was the same. I was shouting at the telly in my living room, and I was thinking, why is no one pulling him on it? Why is no one saying? And well, I'll come on to later that, I did the tweet already that's gone, like, done well, but tempted a lot of people to randomly give me abuse. So because of that, I just thought, well, I'm not doing a second one. Do you know what I mean? In one weekend, I'm not doing one about this as well, and getting loads of people calling me random names up here for that as well. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting who would be on the, who isn't a dickhead?
That could be on the panel.
Who could sit on the panel?
Let's decide ourselves who should be on the panel, because even the first person who came to my head, I was like, no, but I really like him, but he is a dickhead, is Roy Keane. Because sometimes he says stuff and I'm like...
And he's definitely done dickhead stuff when he was a player.
Yeah, 100%.
And he was literally like offering someone to go to the car park the other week, although he's done that second video, hasn't he, which is great, to be fair, where he was like, I'm a 53-year-old man. Like, You were still laughing at him out, Roy.
Did you see his explanation though, which I thought was funny? Like he went.
It was the only place we could go.
Where else was he going to say? Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to invite him into the lounge.
Yeah, it's the only place we could go. There's a shout. Yeah, someone in the comments. Someone's got number one for us. Ali McCoist. That's a shout.
Yeah.
Clive Tilsley.
Would you have Clive Tilsley? What about Peter Crouch? Peter Crouch is
sound. Yeah. There you go. We've got
Joe Cole. I quite like Joe Cole.
We've got a 3-man panel already.
Ali McCoist. I'd have him in charge of everything.
Yeah. Well, he could be in charge of the.
He's the king of the sound.
We'll just go to Ali in the no dickhead panel. Yeah. Was he a dickhead there, Ali? Yeah. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Off. Yeah.
Off. Yeah.
That'd be brilliant, that wouldn't it? Ali McCoist doing like dickhead VAR on every game.
Yeah. I reckon we're on to something. Yeah. If you all want to write to the PGMOL and the FA and all the rest of it, then we can crack on and we'll get a new rule into footy.
Did you have meant to send this to you as well? I've forgotten. I didn't even get the lad's name. Sorry, mate. Someone messaged us saying they need me to get involved to sort out the PGMOL. I was like, I'm not sure I have the power or the inclination to do that, but thanks for thinking I have.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder what he thought you could do.
I don't know. But he addressed it directly to me. It's like, Kopi needs to sort this out. I was like,
maybe because he saw it in the past, like you've sent wax-sealed letters about...
Is that what I need to do? Send a wax-sealed letter to the PGMOL.
Did you ever...
Dear Howard.
Who was that to? PSG?
All kinds of people, yeah.
No, but you sent one about football, wasn't it about Mbappe?
Yeah. I sent an offer for Mbappe, didn't I?
That was it, yeah.
Yeah. Said we
never hear back, no?
No, they never replied.
Have you heard back from any of the wax-sealed letters?
Yeah.
Have you?
So yeah, there was a couple of business ones over the years, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like anyone we know, Branson or anything?
HSBC.
Less shit, lad.
Yeah. It was like
just like a branch manager.
Yeah.
Just
Mavis. Just Mavis who works in the Allerton Road HSBC.
Yeah, what's all this about that you'd have to fill out a form now when you want to put cash in? What's it got to do with you?
Yeah. Stop sending us... They replied to say, stop sending us wax seal letters. It takes too much shit.
It's really bad for the environment.
Do you know what? It's never worked brilliantly for me. But our mate Matt, it worked. He told me a while ago, like, he copied the idea and it worked. Oh. He got a reply off like someone boss.
Someone famous, someone big. Yeah. There you go. I mean, I might just send one once just to say I've done it because I quite like the idea of doing the wax seal, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think when I've got more time on my hands, that's the only way I'm going to communicate.
If I'm not going to tweet,
just send wax seal letters to people.
Just send
written in like you're like ink with a feather.
Yeah, and then like you break through the wax seal, you open it all up, and it just says Bevy.
Yeah.
Question mark. Yeah. I like it, mate. I look forward to it. Right, well, we'll talk about footy. And I thought, look, we will talk about Liverpool. And, of course, we always talk about Liverpool. But what I'm seeing a lot of Reds talking about, and given the Premier League table, it's absolutely fair enough, is Chelsea. And so we'll talk about the Liverpool match in a bit. But we'll talk first about what we think about Chelsea and whether it's something we should be particularly worried about. So, obviously, as things stand, they've played a game more than us, but they're only 2 points behind us. So they're right on our tails, and they play before us on Sunday. When we play Tottenham, they're playing a couple of hours before, so they get the chance to briefly, hopefully, go top of the league. Obviously, we preferred if they lost and
but they're away
stayed
with them, aren't they? So.
Yeah.
That could be anything.
And never. I mean, I know they did us a favour this weekend, but come on,
2 on the run.
Two on the run, and they'll have a big think about it this time as well, I'm sure. But Chelsea are as well the form team in the league as well, so they've taken 20 points from the last 8, followed by us. We've taken 18 from the last 8. Away from home, they're the form team as well. They've got 19 from 8 on their travels. At home, not so good, 15 from 8. Brentford are the form team at home, which sort of emphasises the point really that, you can be a form team, but doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be top, because the Reds are top. The Reds are still top. But yeah, as I say, we'll come on to the Reds. So let's do this first then. Based on what you know, what you've seen, what you've heard, what I've just said, are you worried? Or are you still looking at the supercomputer, which not only says we've got an 80-odd% chance of winning the league, it actually says after the weekend, the chances have increased. Because I guess just because another game's ticked off. And I guess because, I don't know properly how they do it. I tried to quickly look for it before, and it seems that they just run thousands and thousands of scenarios, and it's based on all the stats. So I presume it's all XG and pressures and God knows what else. What was that one you used to always go on about?
OBV, on ball value. That's my favourite one. That's the only stat through which I watch football now. Yeah, but what's... People are like, but how many assists you got? No, forget that. What's his on-ball value?
What's his on-ball value, lad? Imagine that in the pub.
Yeah.
Hey, lad, seem we've been linked with that Pedro. Our Brighton is on-ball value, lad. Get on it.
Do you know what's funny? I don't even know in what numbers it's measured in. Do you know what I was going to go with then? It's on-ball value is 93. And then I was like, is that...
Out of what? What does it mean?
I don't know.
Does it mean he's good with running with the ball?
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, so presumably they run all that shit through a computer and it churns out a thing at the other end. And according to the supercomputer, we're still flying and we should still win the league based on,
Well, I think actually the thing it'll be will tie into that thing that Phil Blundell did the other week. Every time Arsenal drop points, the run they have to go on to get to 90 becomes more difficult. So since that, I remember like when Phil did that maths 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, they've dropped 4 more points since. So at that point, they had to win something like, I don't know, 21 out of 25 games. Well, they've lost 2, they've drawn 2 of those games already. So now they're getting to the point where if we hit 90 points, they have to win every single game, including away at Anfield. And you're like, okay. And look, that assumes we're going to hit 90, and we might not, we might fall apart. So that's why we've gone. It makes sense because it's they've dropped away because Chelsea's percentage chance of winning it according to that has doubled, hasn't it? It's gone from like 2.5% to 5%. Have you got it in here?
No, I WhatsApped you.
But it's because they were so far behind.
Yeah.
That it doesn't really.
I mean, Liverpool, the bookies is another one to always look at, which is again, it's only just sort of like a bit of a finger in the air, isn't it? It's based on money that's going down on teams as well. But we're still odds on. And Chelsea have moved into second favourites, obviously.
Well, my answer to the question is, and it's funny because I messaged someone else this at the weekend, like, if they did you hear Slot say in one of his press conferences, of all the games we've played this season, that's the only one he thinks like we deserve to lose, actually. Like,
which? Fulham?
Chelsea at home. Like they outplayed us and they had good chances. If the result was reversed in that game between us, direct game, they'd be top and we'd be second. So that shows how close we are. I know we've got a game in hand still, but it's worth saying that is the derby away. And that is a tougher game for us than it is for Chelsea going away to Everton, for obvious reasons, especially that it's the last one. But yeah, I messaged someone else saying, the ghosts in here.
Oh yeah, it sounded like one, didn't it? Did you get that on the mics? Proper like, woo!
My big thing is, I wasn't worried about them, but I'm a bit worried that, are you eating chocolate in the middle of the thing?
I'm just checking whether there's any Maltesers left. I don't think there is. That's
why
I brought them in. You see, I bet all the good ones.
No chance. There's no chance a Maltesers gets through to this stage of a celebration.
No,
box.
It hasn't.
Anyway, my big thing is, I'm worried that everybody's just writing them off. Someone else mentioned at the weekend, and I was like, yeah. Like, they should have a good fucking squad with the amount of money they've spent. Yeah. Everyone keeps forgetting. It's like everyone's forgotten now how much money they've spent. And it's like there's some plucky underdog that's doing well. No. They've spent £1 billion in 3 seasons or something.
Yeah.
They should be fucking brilliant. They've got 2 full teams. One that they play in Europe and one that they play in the league. He's done a boss job, to be fair, out the blue.
Yeah, I mean, he's sorted out a very chaotic situation into something that's resembling, something going for the title.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, I still think there's so many things in our favour. I was thinking about this. Their keeper's shite. We've got the best keeper in the world. Even our second choice keeper is better than their first choice keeper. We've got the best defender in the league.
He actually made some good saves yesterday, though.
Did he?
Yeah, did you watch their game?
Didn't watch it, no.
Yeah, I watched it, and he did all right.
Yeah,
he's shit with his feet.
He's all right.
He's really bad with his feet.
If you look through the spine of their team, our goalie's well better. We've got the best defender in the league.
Yeah.
We've got the best striker in the league.
And we've got lads who've won the thing.
And we've got people who've
won it. Which is what
their
manager said.
Yeah, exactly. They're young. They've never been through this before. All those things.
I think their manager's interesting, isn't he? Like he seemed, he's quite likable, really, to be honest with you. Which is, always. I just always think of all the rivalry we've had with Chelsea over the years, and it's sort of
like them,
I don't want to like anything to do with them, but I do quite like him. And when he was talking, everyone's done all the, well, do you reckon when he said that he was doing this? And do you reckon when and such is, talking about football, which we also do. But I didn't think it was a mind games thing that he was saying he doesn't think the contenders. I thought he meant it because he was fuming. And he said, the goal we conceded at the end then shows that we're not going to win the league because there's still loads of work to do because we should not be conceding a goal from our attacking throw, basically, which is what happened.
Yeah.
And then, what as I say, I watched the game as well, and Sanchez made a couple of decent saves. Carvalho, as in the lad we used to have, hit the bar and it bounced down on the line. And so they got a bit of fortune there as well. And, you think about Spurs the other week, they were 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And obviously they come back because Spurs were Spurs. But what I'm saying here is, they're not... they've done well, don't get me wrong, and there's players dotted throughout the team who are doing really well. Obviously, everyone's raving about Palmer, rightly so. Caicedo's come good, shock, etc. But what the supercomputer is obviously doing is can they sustain this? Can they do this right through to the end of the season? And you're right, the fact that they can almost change the whole team for Europe, and they're playing bums as well. Let's be honest. I was reading loads of stuff over the weekend about how they're doing and all this kind of stuff, and it made me laugh here. It said there was one fact in one report I read, and it said they scored 66 times in 25 games across all competitions this season. So I thought, okay, that sounds good, but then they beat Noah 8-0. Noah, were they? And so I googled Noah, and league leaders in the Armenian League. They were founded in 2017, and they're literally named after him, the fella with the ark and that.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, genuinely. Yeah. Because apparently, it's not far from where Noah's from and that. So they're we should name a footy team after that fella. He's sound. Yeah. We had an ark and saved all the animals and that, so may as well name a footy team after him. Yeah. Is right. But yeah, 8 of the goals are there for a start off. And
we should do the rest of the show on that Noah's a real fella and he's from Armenia. This is all fucking news to me at this time of the year. Fucking what did he do? He built a massive boat, right? And he went round. He was Armenian. I reckon if you gave everyone watching and listening 100 guesses as to where Noah was from, no one would say Armenia.
You know what I mean? There you go. And he had a big, massive boat.
The most famous thing to come out of Armenia.
Fair play to him.
Anyone watching live anyone got anything more famous than Noah to come out of Armenia?
So yeah, so what I'm saying is get the R rattling and go. I mean, the top scorers in the league as well. To be fair, in our league, so they've got 37 in the Premier League, one more than Spurs. But so Spurs are scoring loads of goals. You wouldn't say they're going to win the league, would you? And this is it. So I think there's a lot of stuff to prove. But another thing I looked at this afternoon,
I've just noticed their goal difference. I can't be right. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, they've conceded the same as Spurs. So that's clearly the problem, isn't it?
That as well.
They've scored one more than Spurs and conceded 19. So, and they've lost. I think you pointed this out last week. They've drawn 3 and lost 1 at home.
Yeah. And
it's
against
the home form that's fucked them up.
And drew with United, didn't he? Drew with Palace, I think. So again, look, they'd probably say, looking at us, well, you drew with Fulham, and you should probably have been beating them. You threw away a goal in the last minute against Newcastle. You should have won that. You wouldn't expect to be beaten by Forest. So it's not been plain sailing for us either. But yeah, the squad thing as well. I mean, I couldn't actually fit all their squad on my agenda. So there's a big, massive list that you'll be able to see there, mate. And then there's more that I just thought, fuck them off, because none of them had played. But when you look at that and what they're doing, it basically means that our key players are playing more minutes than theirs, obviously. So if you look at our squad list, Van Dijk, Salah and Gravenberch have all played 1,800 minutes, which equates to 21 games. Their top player minutes-wise is Caicedo, and his minutes are 400 less. It equates to 16 games. So, over the course of the season, that's going to add up. We've seen it before. We've seen Liverpool get fatigued before. We've seen Liverpool run out of steam before. We've all been saying we think Klopp. We all saying that slot style should hopefully mean they're conserving some energy. And there was no energy conserved on Saturday, I can tell you that. They absolutely went hell for leather, but we'll come on to that because that was boss. But yeah, Chelsea as well have got their long list in terms of what they've done so far this season. So lost to City at home, lost to fucking Serviette. So they drew with Palace at home, like I said before. Drew with Forest at home. We beat them. They lost at Newcastle. They drew with Man United, and they drew with Arsenal. And then they've been on a decent run recently, which obviously is getting referenced a lot to say, here we have a team in form. So the teams that they've been beaten are, they won away at Leicester. They won away at, who? Heidenheim.
What European competition are they in?
Conference.
Fucking hell.
Heidenheim. Yeah, so they beat them. They beat Villa. They beat Villa at home, which obviously is a decent result. They won 5-1 at Southampton, but Southampton are shit. 4-3 at Tottenham, which you already mentioned. They beat Astana. No idea. Sounds like the make of a shit video or something. A video player, a VCR. What's that, lad? It's an Astana.
Yeah, got it from the market.
Beat them 3-1, and then they beat Brentford at the weekend. So, and their next opponent is Shamrock.
Fuck me.
I mean, come on.
In that time, we're playing Bayer Leverkusen, Real Madrid, RB Leipzig, AC Milan. And you know what's funny? People were giving us stick that we hadn't beaten anyone and we'd won away at the San Siro, and they're playing fucking Noah's Ark.
It's wild, isn't it? Loads of people keep commenting about the sound, and loads of people are saying it sounds, or maybe it's used, I don't know. But equally, I can't do that much about it, lads, sitting in front of a microphone talking. But yeah, Shamrock are 22-1 to beat them. So I imagine they're going to beat them. And then Everton are 9-2 to beat them. If anyone fancies them to randomly come out with a win that benefits Liverpool. But yeah, Maresca said after the game, we are not ready to compete for a title. A team that is ready does not concede the goal we concede. What a lot of people seem to be saying as well about them, and I think we mentioned it last week, didn't we? Just about, well, I mentioned it just there as well, experience in the side. So they've got a young side. They're a young side. Which makes me think, who always used to say that? Was it David O'Leary? Used to say that in every press conference, every single time. It's like, is your side young, David? Yeah, you might want to mention that. Yeah, their average age of their squad is 23.9. Liverpool's is 26.5. Arsenal 26.8. And City's 27.8.
I know what we've talked about this in the past, but I hate it when they average stuff like that. Because it's like, well, the average isn't important. We've got two lads in our squad who are like 32. So that drags the entire... Our midfield is... What's the average age of our midfield? 21, 22. Like, fucking hell.
I think the point is, though, that there isn't experience there. No experience of winning
dragging their average up.
No one winning the Premier League in the squad currently. A handful that have won titles overseas. And this thing with the average starting age... no team has ever won the Premier League with an average starting age of under 25, and only 3 were under 26. So there you go.
And we've seen why, haven't we? Like, we have seen firsthand on a number of occasions how difficult it is. Maybe it's only Leicester. Someone will show me. I'm sure there's been others to jump from outside the top 2 to winning the league in one season. We've seen it, haven't we? Like, it's usually a step-by-step process because you need to gain that experience. You need to add that extra bit of quality. And I mean, regardless of this season, I would like to, because even looking at their fixtures coming up, if you're a Chelsea fan, you'd be doing what we were doing ages ago, where you're looking at that thinking, we should win all of them. So it's only sort of Palace away. Maybe Ipswich is away, it's a bit tricky, but Fulham's their local derby. Yeah, but
Fulham's a derby, isn't it? Yeah, and I think Fulham are a decent side. They showed it at the weekend, and I don't think it's a gimme that by any stretch. And then Ipswich away.
Same, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, the right down there, but equally they've got some players there that can cause you problems. So we'll see. They got Morecambe at home in the FA Cup as well, but we can't really talk because we got Accrington Stanley. But anyway, going to move on to the Reds now and talk about them, I think, because I think we've done it. The other thing I just wanted to throw in about Chelsea as well was that their expected goals against is the 10th highest in the Premier League. So again, what you were saying, mate, that it doesn't scream that defensively they're able to get the results that you think are required. But we shall see. The Reds against Fulham, all the madness that happened there. It was a mad game to be at. We didn't start well. We obviously switched off. But my God, some of the decisions were wild. Robertson, according to the manager as well, was basically injured from the tackle at the other end of the pitch.
By getting studs in his knee.
Tried to stay on, and then it's worked against him, and then he's sent off. He's sent off. I've got it here somewhere from our old mate Andrew Beasley. Robertson's 17th minute dismissal is the second earliest Liverpool have ever suffered, at least according to the record books at LFC history. At that point, the Reds had taken only one shot, valued at just 0.04 expected goals. Essentially, everything they offered defensively occurred when playing 10 against 11. Andrew is writing on Substack, if you want to go and look him up. He is, of course, one of the good ones out there right now. But yeah, so I wanted to get that in first, because when you run through the stats, then you're like, tell you what. So, expected goals, Liverpool 2.13, Fulham 1.22. Big chances, 3 for Liverpool, 1 for them. Shots, 16 for Liverpool, 12 for them. We had more corners. We passed the ball more, etc., etc. Everything shows Liverpool. And then second half is even more marked in that, it's 60-40 in terms of possession, 1.61 expected goals for Liverpool, 0.65 for Fulham. Big chances, we had 2 that are 12 shots to 6 in the second half. Whole half played by 10 men. I thought it was brilliant, not brilliant to drop points at home to Fulham, not brilliant that the ref overshadowed the game, not brilliant that there's a questionable red card and then there's decisions the other way that didn't go in our favour, not great that we've got a fella who's mainly refereed in the Championship, looking like a fella who's mainly refereed in the Championship, but just the mentality and the spirit and the fight and the fact, I just love the way Slot managed it. I just thought it was brilliant. I was like, when their second one went in, there was we've had a good go, but from that 17th minute, it felt like it could be one of those days, and he just put 5 up front, and I was like, whoa, Fulham are all right. They're a good side. They're shown in the game that they're good. Like Robinson and Iwobi caused us loads of problems with good players, the pair of them. And I was like, you sure about this? 5 up front, basically.
But even before then, I don't know. I throw this caveat in all the time because I'm just waiting for people to start shouting abuse at me. But I think loads of people behind the scenes are a bit quietly going, is he just say this quietly because we love Klopp and all that, but is he a better manager?
Got to win shit first.
No, I know that, but do just from a purely tactical and knowledge based perspective,
he's got balls. I'll give him that. The
standard substitution to make, which we were all expecting, if you'd have frozen that game when Robertson got sent off,
another defender,
you'd have taken on I reckon 98%. 97. My Opta supercomputer says 97.6% of managers would take off Gakpo or Diaz, put Kwanzaa centre back, and put Gomez left back, because you've got your back 4 then, and then you go solid. Look at what, and Keane and a few of them were giving Arsenal stick for this. Arsenal went down to 10 men twice earlier in the season, and in both games immediately resorted to defending. Our manager went. And he even laughed about it after the game, because you could see them, Joe, looking at the tactics board with Heitinger and his assistant, going what should we do?
Some of it
so he was
work, he said,
we'll bring Gakpo to left back and we'll do this. And then 5 minutes later, he's there again on the side going, scrap that. It hasn't worked. And he said afterwards, some things look good on a tactics board, and then you see them in real life and go, nah. But instead of making that change that everyone else would have made, he's gone, no, how do we make sure we still stay on the front foot? Because he said afterwards as well, there's a lot of things go through your brain. We're losing. We're losing, so we've got to try and win the game. To bring Gravenberch to centre-back and to reshuffle it twice and to get the players to play in a way that even the Fulham players after the game said, we didn't feel like we were playing against 10 men. Those stats, as you said, I honestly, when they scored their second, I was gutted for our players, because I was like, you should go on to win this game. And even when we equalised, I was like, we're going to win this. We're still going to win this.
That's
What
what
a
it felt
fucking
like on the
performance this is.
Yeah.
And
We're unlucky not to.
my only concern is, and I mean, touch wood, it's Southampton on Wednesday and they're in a bad way, but hopefully we'll have enough. But my only concern is they'll be fucking knackered. Because basically...
he's got to change a load on for that game.
Yeah, but there's some... But which well, like McAllister...
Morton, Endo, Chiesa, whatever, you know, all of them have got to come in, surely.
But, Junior, like, he's managed to get effort out of those players, the likes of which I'm not sure I've seen. It reminded me of Klopp, the first Klopp game. And I was thinking about this about Amorim at the weekend. We said last week about... Amorim wants his players to run like mad dogs.
Yeah.
So he's clearly already trying to get them to do that. And because Klopp, he came in and wanted his players to run like mad dogs. Guess what? They ran like mad dogs.
Yeah.
Slots come in and gone, you just don't run back enough, fast enough. Guess what? Immediately, they're all doing it. Amorim's come in. There's no way he's going, well, we'll just ease into this running more thing. He's going to more, run more. And they're like, not sure about that. The work rate in this team, if you'd have said you're going to go from a Klopp team to any other manager and the work rate will stay the same or improve, you'd have been like, nah, no chance. It's like, it's unbelievable what he's done. Unbelievable.
But I think as well, you mentioned before, talking about City, didn't you, where you said about heads going and, you know, like Walker, you know, doing what he did and even, you know, the pen that they give away. Like, that's pure heads gone. Like how'd you get to that situation from there?
How have you give a pen away? And you've had loads of time to think about it as well, by the way.
So there was every chance I think that happened to Liverpool based on what happened early on in the game. Obviously, we concede. You know, we got a red card. You've got Diop and Pereira who could go and don't go. So, you know, like, you think about how you're processing that internally while you're running around on the pitch. You're like, the ref's giving us nothing. The ref's giving them everything. We're getting ripped down that side. They've scored. It's not our day. You know, and it'd be easy to just sort of like close down and go, it's not our day. And then make sure that it isn't our day because you don't put it in. But it felt like all of them, the fans as well, because the atmosphere was good. Slot as well, and it all comes from Slot, doesn't it? I think, you know, if the way he did that, and he was like it was like, nah, going for the title, not ours.
Yeah,
and bang, and I think that comparison or that reference to Arsenal's absolutely spot on, because that's what Arteta didn't do, isn't it? And that's what our manager is doing, and I love him for it. And like, I honestly come out of the game, and I don't think I was alone. I was bouncing because I was like, that was fucking great. That. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That was brilliant to see Liverpool go hell for leather and try and win the thing. You know, fucking... I loved it.
And in the same breath as well. And I think this is why... Maybe the supercomputer takes some of this into account, but not only did Arsenal not gain points on us, but in the same game, we've got Harvey Elliott back now, who looked great when he came on. Yeah. Jota came on and scored immediately.
Saw what we'd missed there, didn't we?
So we've had this run with a centre forward who loads of people love, and we've defended him and he's great and all that, and we've also criticised him, but he scored 2 in 10 games or something, and we've still been on this run. Well, just seeing what Jota did there, the difference in his finishing ability to... Núñez just hits that as hard as he can, doesn't he, from that position? Jota, I'll just slot it. We've got them back, and Alisson's just come back. Chiesa's back fit. It's like... Fucking hell, lads, that's not a bad weekend, all in all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then there was another one as well, wasn't it? There was the Tete, or whatever he's called. Is it Tete? Where he sends, he runs into Gomez, and apparently it was judged as coming together.
I hate that phrase. That's another one I hate. That was something else Mike Dean said about it's a coming together. What does that mean?
Yeah, so you can just block us, let's send them sprawling in the box.
Isn't every foul a coming together? 2 players come together. So what do you mean coming together? 1 player ran into another player. Yeah, well, okay, that doesn't excuse a foul, does it? You can't just barge someone over in the box.
Well, you wouldn't think, but honestly, that ref was...
You can, obviously.
That ref really did give us nothing.
Did you see what Van Dijk said about him after the game?
No. Was it something about communication or something? I couldn't communicate with him.
Yeah, he said something about that, but the biggest thing was, and he said the Fulham players were saying the same, he looked nervous.
Great.
He said we felt like we're on the pitch, we thought he was nervous because he wouldn't talk to us.
Sound.
And you're like, great. Well, that's a good sign, isn't it?
Well, that's in our WhatsApp group of lads who were both at the match and not at the match type of thing. One of the lads who was at the match put at half time, who's this ref? So I looked him up and I was like, I sent through his stats and I was like, majority of his games in the Championship. You can tell. Do you know what I mean? I think he'd ref like 20 odd in the Prem, and then it was like hundreds in the Championship and below. And it was like, ooh, big game. I'm in the spotlight, and I'm just going to get everything wrong. Sound. Gravenberch, I mean, Jota just that turn and just generally the finish, just amazing. I mean, assist for Nunes. He was obviously getting a lot of heat at the moment and a lot of stick. But look, he's in the squad. Use him, make use of him while he's here. I don't think he's going to stay here. I think that's that. You know, I don't think I'm stepping out of line to say he will go. It's just a case of when will he go. But while he's here, you use him, don't you? You make use of him, whether it's from the bench or whatever.
I think Slot defended him, didn't he? Saying he's not only judged on goals, he's working hard, he's contributed to the team, which there's no doubt about. And at the same time,
his confidence looks low, like.
Yeah, but you can't play in that position for Liverpool. It was different when it was Firmino, because Firmino's contribution to
one of the best players we've seen.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
His contribution to the whole game around him was so big. Nunes' contribution isn't that big. He just works hard. So imagine if we had a player consistently playing that position who also scored goals. We'd be fucking miles ahead.
Obviously, I keep an eye on the comments as we're talking away. And I just saw one that said, mini cheddars at Christmas time. And then a laughing emoji. What?
Question mark or statement? Is it a question or a statement?
There's no. It just ends with a laughing emoji.
He's just made a statement.
Like
mini cheddars at Christmas time.
If you're looking at our little box on the table, that's celebrations, lad. That's not mini cheddars. But mini cheddars are all right. Don't associate them with
mini cheddars before.
Yeah, they're all right.
I would never say the line mini cheddars at Christmas time.
No, they're not associated with festivities. I wouldn't say they're just a small circular snack.
Tell us whether you've looked at celebrations and thought they were mini cheddars.
Gravenberch, I was going to mention being superb. We already touched on it. Obviously, dropped into to play deeper, then moved back into midfield later on, it seemed. And whatever he asked him to do, he was great. 64 out of 67 passes were accurate. 80 touches of the ball, which is the highest of anyone on the pitch. Won 3 out of 3 of aerial duels, also putting him first. 2 out of 2 tackles, 1 clearance, 2 interceptions, and not dribbled past. And that's playing in centre mid and at centre half. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. My only worry about him still is that big list that I referenced before. He's right at the top for number of games and number of minutes and all the rest of it. And he did look a bit goosed at Newcastle, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's just don't play him at Southampton. He's got to have the day off there. I'm all for trying.
He's so important, though, isn't he?
I know, but you just can't play him.
Did you hear why Slot said he found it easy to bring him off against Newcastle? Because he said in every other game, when I've thought I need to bring him off to rest him, he's been too important. But against Newcastle, he didn't go as far as saying he looked fucking goosed. So it's easy to bring him off. But he didn't go that far, but that's what he alluded to. I think that's his problem. And that's Gravenberch, whilst he's been unbelievable, is my biggest concern for our title push.
Yeah.
Because it's mad. Imagine if you'd have said at the start of the season, by December, the one player you'll be hoping you don't lose, before everyone starts shouting Van Dijk and Salah at me, I know. But one of the key players in your side will be Ryan Gravenberch. You'd be like, how? Where? What do you mean? He's just unreal. And think about it everybody else worked really hard and did really well, but basically by putting Gravenberch centre-back, what he said to him was, you're going to play 2 positions because we've got a man down. So I need you to play centre-back and the centre-mid. And he's like, yeah, that's fine.
The one bonus is that, obviously McAllister was suspended, so he's had a little rest. He's
missed 2 games, hasn't he? He's had a whole 10 days.
So he's had a bit of a rest and obviously can come back in. But yeah.
And he can play the 6.
Yeah.
And Curtis Jones can play the 6 as well, so it's not like we can't.
I'm sure this is all in the mighty Slot's mind.
Of course.
Based on it. Won't it be funny?
He'll have something ingenious after the weekend.
Don't you think it's funny as well that Heitinger could end up being like this really like important figure in our
I know. That's
history.
sort of just everyone's just sort of ignored that, haven't they? I think
Johnny Heitinga, the massive red.
Yeah.
I've just noticed that we've done all like 54 minutes already, and we've got loads more to talk about, which is good because it means we'll just roll it over into the subscriber show. I want to discuss properly the penalty or whether it was one, because for me, Clive, having seen it back, which obviously they have the benefit of that at the game, it's a no. It's a no from me. We also wanted to talk about, about that Southampton game and what we might do there. Some stuff around what Fulham were saying about it all. Some stuff around Andrew Robertson, which has been absolutely loads of discussion about online over the weekend, and whether he's done and whether his legs have gone and all this kind of stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about that and look at some of the stats around that. I've still got to do the weekly Mo Salah appreciation spot. I've got to mention that Gakpo scored 7 goals in 10 and he's doing all right. I've got to mention that Fulham drew with Arsenal, and so they, are quite good, but are also massive shithouses and kept lying on the deck and doing all that kind of stuff. What else? Oh yeah, and I haven't talked about my controversial tweet, which riled so many people, which was me just simply saying, here's the Anfield Road on 47 minutes when Liverpool were scoring a goal. Absolutely loads of empty seats. Now it's caused some debate, and despite some of the random comments I got, that wasn't my intention. My intention is always Anfield should be the best it should be, and we should be the best supporters we can be.
Is that corporate there?
Some of it is.
Are we going to do this now, or are we going to do it later?
I think. I don't think we've got any time. This is me saying. This is me trying to tempt people to the dark side of the subscriber show, because I'm just running through my agenda, thinking about all the things we haven't done. We haven't lolled at City, but City lol is on the agenda. We haven't revealed the stats, which shows you how shit Man United are. And I've even got match of the day. It's sparked fury among some that it's been announced, who's replacing Gary Lineker.
Oh, I haven't heard this.
Yeah, they're going with a 3-wayer. Not like that.
That'll get the ratings up.
Kelly Cates, Gabby Logan and Mark Chapman on a rota.
Mark Chapman's doing all right there.
But yeah, from what I can see, the only people who are actually like angry or that bothered about it are old fellas who write columns for newspapers.
Who do they want it to be?
I don't know. Like
who's not to like in that lineup?
It's more that it isn't a single figurehead.
Oh, it has to be a single man.
It has to be a single figurehead. Like it's been, how dare you change something?
Yeah.
And we had some questions as well to work through, which included, has Pep been taken over by an alien? How big is Gareth's knob? What's the best pub in town and the worst pub in town? Loads of other ones. Why is Szoboszlai getting the Wijnaldum treatment from a lot of our fan base? I was going to mention that because there's a fella in front of me. I doubt he'd be watching or listening, but Jono, if you are, I am mate. He doesn't like Szoboszlai, and I buzzed off him on Saturday because I thought he'd done all right and I thought he'd worked his bollocks off, which is what this fella's saying here. And I leaned over to him, and I know I'm well enough to do this, do you know what I mean? And I said, do you know why you don't like Szoboszlai? I said, because he's got long hair, and because he's quite good looking, and because you're a bald, old, angry man.
No, I'm well enough to say that, yeah. And then I knocked off his fucking glasses, fucking punched him in the ribs.
No, he took it how it was meant. He laughed his head off.
I think there's a lot in that though with footballers, isn't there? Like,
well, he said, and he went, yeah, the way he runs, he dances round on his heels and all this, and I was like, yeah.
Runs like a fucking gazelle with his slick back hair, and handsome bastard.
Yeah, all of that.
Imagine saying that to a footballer. Do you know you're not as popular as some other people because you're too good looking?
Yeah. How dare you have that haircut?
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of Jamie Redknapp, and people don't want to be reminded of him.
Yeah.
Can you cut it? Can you get a skinhead like Gerrard?
And it doesn't matter how fast you run.
Yeah. Can you get black boots and do a skinhead like Gerrard? Just start smashing into people, and then lads like Jono, I'll be right behind you then. All right, just get on it. Someone doesn't know who Mark Chapman is. That's fine. A quick Google will help you there, mate. But yeah, we've done 59 minutes, so we're pretty much there. So come and join us on the dark side, because we've got absolutely loads of agenda that we didn't get through. All of that I mentioned there, we'll try and get through. We've even got an if needed, which I haven't mentioned, but I don't think we'll get to it because there'll be loads to do. And yeah, you can get a free trial on Patreon as well. So you could go and join the Late Challenge Patreon right now. It'll cost you nothing. And you get to watch the next show where we'll talk about all that stuff. Then you'll also have access to all the other 80 odd shows that we've done ever on a variety of subjects, loads of them not time sensitive. And then you can just sort of decide, do I want to carry on doing this for £4 a month? Or do I want to go back to being an absolute minge bag who just watches the free show every week because I'm a massive Scrooge? We'll leave it there.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
All the best, everyone. Not one person did the super like today, either. You tight bastard. See you next week.